Hello, this is Rajeswari Ramani welcoming you to another Asian Agribiz podcast. Today, Isa Q Tan is speaking with Martin Enderink, Global Sales Director at In Ovo, about In Ovo sexing for eggs. What is it, how does it work, and the advantages it offers stakeholders in the egg production chain.
Hello, Martin. Thank you for joining me today.
Hello, Isa. Nice to meet once again, and very pleased to be in your podcast to explain more about our latest technologies and innovations.
Okay. The systematic culling of male chicks is a common practice in poultry producing countries, but has in recent years been frowned upon due to animal welfare. Your company, In Ovo, has a technology that can help address this issue of unnecessary culling of male chicks. And this is what I would like to talk to you about in this podcast. I'd like to get an overview of what this technology is, its advantages, and how it can be a cost effective measure for hatcheries. I hope this is okay with you. And
Of course.
I will delve into my first question, which is in Asia, the culling of male chicks is not a well-known practice, as in most cases, byproducts like male chicks producers find use for. So, can you tell us more about what systemic male chick culling is and why it has become such an important issue?
Yes. Let me start from the beginning. Decades ago, in the poultry business, they actually, through genetic selection, diverted it into two different ways. One is the broiler, so actually the meat chicken, and the other direction is the laying hen. So they've been selected in a totally different way. Now in the broiler section for meat production, both the males and the females are fully used. However, on the layer side, the laying hen side, only the females lay eggs, and that made that the males actually have no commercial purpose. And worldwide, currently between 6 to 7 billion male chicks are killed at the day they hatch from the egg. And for us, I think it's good to understand it's a fully healthy and functional animal. It's just unlucky to be male and not be productive in terms of laying eggs. And then it's decided to kill it. And this is done worldwide in different ways, either through maceration or through gassing, but in some countries, even burning or drowning. And it's the opinion of our company, but with us, a lot of policymakers as well as consumers who think this is a very much unwanted practice and should be sorted out once there are options to do it. Now, for a long time, there were no ways to do that rather than rearing the males and still gain something from their growth. But lately, technologies have shown up that can actually identify inside the hatching egg whether the embryo which is developing is male or female. In that way, we can interfere during the incubation period and take males out at an early stage of incubation so they do not hatch. And we think that is from an animal welfare point of view, as well as an ethical point of view, is a very correct manner to deal with this problem.
Okay. When did the first technology for in ovo sexing come out?
Yeah, our company definitely was one of the very first to work on the topic, and that actually started already in 2011. So it's on our agenda for a long time. The founders of the company In Ovo has come a long way to make all the steps to make a commercially available, functional, and robust system. And that started with a biomarker which they found inside the egg, which tells whether the egg is developing into female or male. And that discovery goes back to 2016. And then from that moment on, they have been working on the technology, so the system to have this practiced in a hatchery. And that started in 2018, 2019, and we had our first successful hatch in 2020. And since then, developments have gone very fast. So the technology has really come up to a scale that it can do big numbers of eggs in hatcheries in order to solve this problem.
Okay, so can you give me an overview of In Ovo sexing technology that are now available?
Yes. So several companies have been working on this topic from different directions. They actually have developed technologies that work quite differently. So although it's probably for the consumer a very new topic, the fact that we can actually produce cull-free laying hens who produce cull-free eggs, where the brother of the laying hen was not culled. If I look at the overall map of companies who are still, as of today, working on a solution, that may add up easily to 10 to 12 companies who are working on it. Currently, I would say there are, in majority, 5 companies are commercially available with different techniques. Most of them have an origin in Germany. We are from the Netherlands, but I would say that's pretty much the same region and the same concerns that we share. Some of them have a technology which can only be applied with brown breeds because they use a technology which looks at the reflection of feathers that are developing inside the egg. And based on the reflection of the light, they can tell whether it's a male or female developing inside the egg. However, this is a technology which only works from the day 13 of incubation. And from an ethical point of view, as well as latest research, which has shown that at day 13, the chick which is developing has pain perception, so can feel pain. We think day 13 and later is not the best way going forward. There is a company based on MRI technology, which is pretty new in the field, but normally speaking, not with a very high accuracy. And then there are 3 companies that are working based on a little bit of fluid which they take from the egg, actually in a way that it does not affect the development of the chick inside. But this fluid will have components, either DNA, for example, or a biomarker that can tell us whether it's developing male or female. That's 3 companies, and the big benefit of them is that they can do it really much earlier. So actually at day 9, let's say from the 9th day of incubation. This has a big benefit because at that moment, the embryo which is developing is very small. It's 1.5 grams and is not really showing as a chick, and it has no pain perception. So we definitely think that the earlier is better.
How different then is it In Ovo technology? How is it done? The process that the egg goes through, and how accurate is the technology?
Among the 3 that I just mentioned, I think one of our big advantages is that we are able to work at a higher throughput, to do more eggs per hour, so that on an annual basis the output of a hatchery is higher with one of our production lines. And then to explain a little bit more in detail how it actually works, we will take a trolley from the incubator, from the setter, that goes into a heated compartment, and then a robotic arm automatically unloads tray by tray the trays on this trolley. They go on a conveyor, and then we do candling at day 9. So we actually at day 9 we look whether we find heartbeat in the egg, and if eggs are not fertilized or the embryo died off or anything like that, which means it will not result in a healthy chick, we take automatically, also by a robotized system, automated system, we take those eggs out, which is approximately 10% after candling, and we refill the tray. Then the tray automatically moves on to the next section of the device where we do the sampling. So we take a very small droplet of fluid from the egg, and that makes our system quite specific and distinguish it from others. It goes to a machine which is called the mass spectrometer. And the mass spectrometer has the ability to identify in less than 1 second, based on the sample, whether it's from male or female origin. So from that moment on, the tray is carried on automatically to the next phase, to a sorter device, fully automated. Then the system has already identified which egg is male or female, and then the sorting device will separate the male and the female egg on 2 different trays. And that means that at the end of the journey of the egg, which takes about 20 to 25 minutes, so it's done very quick. We do that quicker than a lot of other companies in the field. At the end of the total gender identification procedure, we have one trolley which is male eggs only, and the other one is female eggs only. And then that might be good to mention, the female eggs obviously go back to the incubator, and they will, at day 21, turn into a hatch of female chicks. The male eggs, so that's on the 9th of or the 10th day of incubation, which are taken out. These male eggs, they are collected by a company who turns it through a spray drying process in a high protein ingredient, which is very much wanted by the pet food industry. So in majority, the pet food industry is searching for this high protein product, which comes from the male eggs. Also, the shell is used as a calcium source in the animal feed industry. So it's a full utilization of the male egg, which we think, while there is no pain perception, we have taken it out correctly from the incubation process. It still is an upvalued byproduct of this processing.
So nothing is wasted. Now the eggs, the male eggs, are being used for further processes.
Yes. And you can imagine, Isa, that we would say half of the eggs is male, half is female. If you take half of the eggs out, the male eggs, in the earlier stage of the incubation process, you also have a lot of advantages in relation to a reduction of the energy consumption, a much better carbon footprint, better utilization of your hatchery, because you create a lot of additional space to increase the capacity of a hatchery, because the males are not occupying space for another 12 days and then being killed.
Okay. So those are among the advantages of utilizing this technology. But I'll go back to the fact that in Asia, producers find use for male byproduct, for male chicks. How do you think the region will look at this technology? Do you feel that you could hasten acceptance for it if we can inform the producers that, they do have advantages? The male chicks can be, like you said, upcycled for something better that can be used also in the industry. What do you think you can do to hasten its acceptance? And vice versa, what do you think might slow it down?
Yes. You're right that the males can actually be reared, fattened, and then probably the meat can be consumed. But when we look at the natural resources worldwide, I think it's good to identify that the feed conversion rate of the male, let's say the brother of the laying hen, it's 3.5 to 4.5. So it's very inefficient to rear males. Now that may be a tradition, and I'm not sure if I'm correct here, but in the countryside in a lot of Asian countries. But if you do it on a commercial scale, it's very inefficient. So it's not good for the carbon footprint. It consumes a lot of the resources, quality feed, which we better apply in a different way. So I think out of efficiency, it's not the best way going forward to use the males to grow meat. Furthermore, I would say that from the ethical point of view, I know that in Asia also we get generations of people who start to concern about animal welfare, and that might be slightly different to other continents in the world. But I spend a lot of my time in Asia. I lived for a lot of time in Asia. I think certainly in bigger cities, there is a concern. There is a trend that this is changing, and people start to take notice of animal unfriendly practices. And I think we have now a technology in place to resolve this.
Okay. So that technology, it will have a cost, of course.
Yes.
So can you explain how cost effective this technology would be for producers? Those that might be interested in this technology, what can they expect when they try to get this technology in place in their hatcheries?
Yes. We have to be clear on the point that it's not a matter of increasing effectiveness in a way that it does not have a cost. That means that the female chick, which is then produced without killing its brother, has a slightly higher cost. Now, what makes the concept actually very easy to embrace and easy to accept is the fact that the female chick will rear in a 17, 18-week period, then become a laying hen, and that laying hen in her productive life will produce 350 to 400 eggs. And that means that the cost of using in ovo sexing technology is if you actually dilute that on the 400 eggs which are produced, it's a very minimal additional cost to the egg. We think that if the technology is utilized at the higher numbers, so a full utilization of the equipment, the cost of a consumption egg may raise by 1 cent. And that may either be a euro cent or a US dollar cent. That would not make that much of a difference. And that's not a cost which would be unacceptable for a certain group of consumers who do care about animal welfare and ethically correct livestock production.
Okay. And since this particular concern, these consumers are also growing, those that demand this kind of products are growing. So this will eventually be not just an option, but possibility is that it will become the need. Yeah.
Yes. Europe is again leading in this, which I think is quite often the case when it comes to animal welfare related topics. But I've been traveling recently to other continents in the world. It's quite obvious for everyone in the industry, in the livestock industry, that this will have a common place. This is going to happen also in North America and then step by step in other regions of the world. It starts somewhere, but at a certain moment that becomes the common practice in livestock production. And this one for sure also will. And I think while the technology is developing very fast, the cost also comes quickly down and the robustness of the system is improving. And then at a certain moment, the question may come, why actually do we kill the males? Technology is there, the cost is acceptably low. Then I think as human beings, we should take our responsibility and stop the cruelty of culling healthy animals because they have no purpose.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Martin. Is there something that you would like to add about this technology that you think our listeners will be interested in knowing?
Yes, I am. Because obviously the technology is practiced in a hatchery, in a laying hen hatchery. But I think it needs a strong collaboration among the egg production chain. So we would really like to discuss this topic and this opportunity with hatcheries, yes, but also with egg producers, laying farms, but also egg packers. And I think the strongest driver in Asia may actually come from the food retailers to look at the value of selling eggs, whether that's in a 6-pack or 10-pack or 12-pack or 32-pack. But the fact that you can actually brand them in a correct manner as being cull-free should have a commercial interest for certain retailers, front runners on topics like sustainability, environment, and animal welfare. I think some would like to identify themselves as taking this a step forward and do the right thing from an animal-friendly point of view. So herewith, I would like to invite hatcheries and egg producers, egg packers, and retailers to get in contact with us. Now in Asia, you have large integrators who probably combine a lot of these different activities in the egg chain under one company umbrella. And I think for them, it's a perfect way to give higher value to the consumption egg.
Okay. Martin, thank you so much for joining me today and helping explain more about In Ovo sexing technology.
You're very welcome, Isa, and many thanks to Asian Agribiz for the opportunity to explain more about gender identification in the hatching egg, or In Ovo sexing, as it is also called. Much pleasure to do that.
Consumer demand for animal-friendly food production is rising, and In Ovo sexing is a way to help meet this demand. Learn more about the animal protein industry by subscribing to our podcast via Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please visit www.asian-agribiz.com for more.